Alright, so figured today's good day to redo the headlight installation video, so I'm going to redo that real quick. So you're going to want to start with a T20. You're going to want to remove your fender. I'm just going to use an electric screwdriver. You can use a normal screwdriver, whatever works, whatever you have. So remove the four bolts for the fender. Okay, then you can kind of pull away the fender like this. Make sure you keep track of all the screws. Okay, then you put this off to the side. Alright, so then you're going to want to flip it over. And there are 6 screws on the bottom you're going to want to remove for the front foot pad. You just need to do this to get access to one of the connectors for the foot pad, for the front foot pad. Okay, one screw. Now you flip it over. Then the other screw should fall out. You should have 4 small screws that come out of this, and then there should be 2 long screws that look like this. Alright, and then you can flip back over, and you can kind of push to slide off this front fender. This generally is pretty in there pretty good, so it might take a bit of finessing and everything, so you can just pull it out and put that to the side. So now while you're here, you can loosen your foot pad connector. It's the smaller one right here. You just take your fingers and just twist it to the left till you can pull back this smaller collar, and then you can just pull it out. So you want to make sure you rotate this smaller collar and not the entire connector whenever you're taking it off. Alright, flip it back over. Alright, we take off these 2 foot pad screws right here. Okay. Alright, take our foot pad, put it to the side, and now we have access to the controller box. Might be a bit dirty. I'd recommend, if it's super dirty, you wipe this down with a microfiber towel or just a paper towel, just to get most of the dust off, because we're going to be opening up the controller box. Alright, now you can swap to a security 5-point Torx bit, which is linked in the Etsy listing in the description. So it's a 5-point security, and it's just needed to take out these or to open up the controller box. So let me do that now. Okay, now they're all loose, you can just pull it up. Alright, you can take this and put it off to the side, and now we have access to the controller box. So watch out for this gasket, it likes to move around a lot. Alright, I got the Phillips head now, so I'm just going to unscrew this guy. Not all the way, just a little bit works. So I gave it like maybe a full revolution and a half. And you can just kind of push out in the middle and pull it out. And there's a small little tab on the bottom part of this connector. You can just push it in and then pull it out. This already had the upgraded headlight in it. I'm just giving an example. So if you have a batch 6 headlight, you're going to want to insert the LED or the headlight upside down. So you're going to want to have the Pint Brights. You're going to want to have that face upside down in the board, and with the connector on the right whenever you're looking at the board. So connectors right here, and it'll be flipped like this. So this is just due to some of the machining tolerances with this latest batch. There was copper that was a little bit of copper that was exposed here, and then whenever just a quick and easy solution was to just flip the headlight over, and that works. So then just snug it down. So once again, just for reference, if you have the batch 6, you're going to want to put the connector on the power button side of the for the headlight. So you want this side to have the connector, and then normally it goes on this side for all the other batches, but batch 6, just put it on this side. This is due to, essentially, there's some copper traces and tolerances that are a little bit closer to the surface over here, and essentially that can potentially cause a short if there's like some burrs under here. But yeah, a quick way to test is to turn on the board and then push down a little bit after you get it all screwed in on each side, and then you should not see it turn off. Put on the cover. So you're going to want to just tuck in these wires, just push them down. Okay, make sure the gasket's in its place, which this one it is, shockingly. Don't have it very often. Okay, we're just going to drop it in, just like so. Okay. Alright, I'm also going to quickly show you how to get into the battery box to replace that as well. So, that headlight as well, because I haven't done this on video yet. So put any charge port covers, take your 220 that we used previously, and you are going to zip off these two foot pad screws. Okay, you put these with the other screws, and we're going to carefully flip it over because we do have an exposed circuit board in the front. I would highly recommend you close that up as soon as you install the Pint Bright in the front, but I'm just lazy. I haven't done that yet. Okay, there's 4 screws on the bottom. So 2 back here, 2 right here. These are the longer ones right here, and then these are the shorter ones. So I'm going to redo that. Your foot pad will come loose. You can put that over here. And you're going to want to pop these screws out, which you can generally do by taking a smaller screwdriver and just poking it through the hole on the back. Get access to the screws. You can tap the small ones out. Okay. Okay. There we go. So now your bumper's loose. Then take a flathead, and you're going to want to basically jam it in here and turn it slowly from each side. Make sure that you get it pretty far in there, just because these do kind of attract a lot of dirt and dust and like that, and they kind of get stuck. So, and kind of tap it, get most of the dirt and dust out of there. Raise it up, smack the sides, whatever. Okay, put it back down. Alright. So then I prefer to generally do, I'm going to go with the left side just because we got this wire right here, and I can kind of move that away from the motor without having to fully remove the motor. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pop off these 2 screws right here, or these 4 screws I should say, and then we're going to have to pop off these 2 T30 screws as well. So there's a few different ways of doing this. I tend to do it the manual way. I mean, you can probably use a impact driver to do this as well. I've done that. It just tends to break more bits is what I found. So I just use a 1/2 inch ratchet and reduce it to 3/8, and then with a 1/4 inch socket on it, and then I put my bit right here. I just take my time cracking them loose. Whenever they're brand new, they tend to be torqued, or not torqued, but they tend to be lathered in a ton of blue Loctite. So I tend to either A, snap your bits over and over again, or B, I've seen the heads just shear off on these. So, but, yep, just take your time, go slow. Okay. Alright, take these, put them off to the side. Can't really mix them up with anything because there's nothing else that has those. So, alright, so now this rail should be able to come off. Make sure you keep the hub. You push down on this to keep it there because it has the wire running to it. Okay. Now we're done this. Now we can tilt this back up. And then I take the fender generally and I put it under the front controller box because we're going to remove this battery box. So now I'm just going to take my T20 again and remove these 2 screws. Okay. And then I'm just going to slide this out. Okay, make sure you don't put too much strain on this cable. Alright, and we're going to flip it over on its belly. Then that gives us access to those 5-point screws that we used to remove the battery box. Or not the battery box, but the controller box. So we're going to do the same to this. Throw on our 5-point security bit. We're just going to go down the line. Now those are out. You're going to want to pick each screw out by hand. You know, I'll put these off to the side once you get them all out. Okay. Put them over here. Then, while holding this aluminum to the battery box, flip it back over, and you can lift it up. This one's pretty corroded, but it tends not to matter too much. It's aluminum. So, the main thing is that the inside of this is pretty dry, and then you see a little bit of dirt getting in there. But, alright, we're in. So, this is good. So then we can take that T8 that I previously mentioned, right here, just on a different driver. You can just loosen these 2 screws. This is going to cover the BMS. You're going to want to be careful around here just because there is 63, maximum of 63 volts right here in this battery pack. Alright, I just had to confirm. Yep, you start out with the balance connector. You just push down on this tab up top and then work it slowly. Then you're going to want to remove the battery. It's this XT60 over here. Pull this out. I tend to use my nails for this, so, and just wiggle it slowly. Okay. Now we can lift the battery up and out. It's going to want to move the BMS when you're doing this too. It's kind of annoying. Okay, we can get the battery out of here. Then we can just take the BMS and we can kind of push it out of the way for now. And then there's a single T8 screw right here that we're going to remove. Alright, so now I'm going to remove this single T8 screw. It's right here. You want to fully remove this, pull it out. It's on a little L bracket, and you can lift out the headlight. Alright, you can just pull this out. Alright, now that's good. So now that we're here, what you're going to want to do if you haven't already done this before, there are 2 tabs, or there are these little ribs right here. You're going to want to snip the outermost one on each side. You just get down there with some flush cuts, cut as low as you can, and then as high as you can. And this just prevents the white LEDs from getting blocked by that light. Okay. So then you're going to want to start by putting in the connector. Okay. Push this down here. Okay. And then you're going to want to push those wires off to the side, because I have seen an instance where the wires get pinched. So, and then we can thread in this screw. You don't want to tighten it too much, but it should be pretty snug. Alright. Alright. So, to get everything set back in, you're going to make sure there's nothing on the back here, no debris or anything, because you did just cut 2 pieces of plastic if you had to do it for the first time. So, now that we're clear back here, so we're going to make sure that we put this in the correct spot, which looks like that. Should sit nice and tight. Then you want to make sure that you're pinching no wires at the bottom of this. So I can double check. I can see these 3 wires that we just hooked up to the headlight are out of the way. So okay, feel comfortable pushing this down. Okay. Now we can take our battery. Alright, and we're going to drop it back in. Okay. The order for this is you plug in the power first. So let's get our battery wire hooked up, and then you plug in your balance connector. Okay. So from here, you're going to want to turn on the board just to make sure everything works. Okay, I can see the tail light came on. It's blue right now. If I roll the tire back a little bit, I can see it comes on white. Okay. So then I'll turn the board back off. You're going to want to make sure that the BMS is fully seated. Take the cover, gently put it in, because you don't want to lose these screws in with a live controller. These do not need to be tight, or very tight at all, or else you'll crack this very thin plastic. So I just very lightly tighten it, just like that. Okay. Then we take our aluminum cover, make sure that their gasket is in place. It does like to pop out. So that looks pretty good. And we're just gonna drop it right on. Alright, flip it back over while holding that tight, and then you push it to the ground to make sure that gasket doesn't go anywhere. Alright, then you can take your driver again, or your screwdriver, and you want to reinsert the screws that you removed. So, throw them in. Alright, so now we're going to put in our battery box. So you can just slide it into your rail and just thread in these screws, kind of get one started. Make sure that they're lined up with the holes right here. Okay. I'm just going to press away. Okay, that's good. Make sure that your axle block is back in there. Alright, we're going to flip the board back on its side. Just like so. Okay. We're going to put back in our rail, which I have over here. You can kind of line it up with the axle bolt holes, just like that. Then we can hand thread these guys in. This is just going to kind of hold everything together. I'd recommend just threading those in by hand or with a screwdriver, not tightening them all the way. I just do this, that way everything gets held together. Can now move everything by the axle. Okay, we're going to put in these 4 small screws right here. Just reattaching the rail, that's all we're doing. You just take your rear bumper and slide it right into place. This is a Pint X, so it's going to go in those little rails. Alright, now we take our rear foot pad, drop it on. Okay, we take 2 of the smaller screws. We're just going to put them in the foot pad again. Take our 2 long screws, put them right here. Okay. Now we're going to put on the front foot pad. You're going to want to start by putting on the front foot pad before you attach, or you put on your front bumper, just for getting your hands under here. So, let's see if I can make this a little bit easier. See? So you want to have the key facing up, and you want to push it in. It should go in pretty nicely. And then if you're running into the smaller collar, just kind of wiggle it a little bit. Alright, now that it's in, I'm just going to turn it to the right, the smaller collar in the front, until I feel a nice little click. And then I know it's in there. And you give it a little tug, and it ain't going anywhere. Drop back on the front foot pad, and it's going to take 2 screws right here. 2 of the smaller ones. Okay. Alright, flip it over. Don't grab it by here, because it's only being held by 2 screws. Okay, got the front Pint foot pad, or Pint X foot pad, whatever one you want to use. Just going to slide it in place. Alright, going to take 2 long screws right here. Okay, now we just got to put on the fender, and then we're done. Okay, just drop on our fender. Make sure you have this front. Okay. We're just going to take our 4 screws and drop in. And that's it. So, throw back in the charge port cover and you're good.